అండ్ మామూలు అండ్ యాంపర్సండ్ అండ్ యూజ్ చేయండి.
సార్ ఇది సెంట్రల్ లైన్ ఎలాగవుతుంది సార్? ఇది సెంట్రల్ లైన్ ఎలాగవుతుంది?
దీన్ని జరపండి కొద్దిగా. ఇప్పుడు మీరు ఏం చేయాలంటే అది ఇంకొంచెం జరపండి, ఇంకొద్దిగా. ఎస్, తప్పు. అడ్జస్ట్ చేసుకోవాలి. ఇంకా సరిగా రాలే, సెంటర్కి రాలా. లెఫ్ట్కి రండి, దాన్ని లాగండి లెఫ్ట్కి. ఓకే, అది లాగితే లాభం లేదు. ఇక్కడ ఇటు సైడ్ రావాలి, అక్కడ ఇక్కడ సైడ్, రైట్, టువర్డ్స్ రైట్. ఎన్నుకిను బార్డర్ ఎంత స్పేస్ ఉందో అది కాదు పాయింట్. బ్లూ బార్డర్ కి ఎన్నుకి ఎంత స్పేస్ ఉందో ఐకి బ్లూ బార్డర్ కి అంత స్పేస్ ఉండాలి. ఇంకొంచెం జరపండి రైట్ కి. ఇక్కడ కాదు, లెఫ్ట్. కరెక్ట్, లెఫ్ట్దే. అది దీంతో పని కాదు. అది ఇక్కడ టువర్డ్స్ లెఫ్ట్. ఇప్పుడు జరపండి రైట్ కి. సరిపోతుంది. ఇప్పుడు సరిపోయింది. బయట క్లిక్ చేయండి, అవుట్ సైడ్ ఆఫ్ ద బాక్స్ క్లిక్ చేయండి. నౌ యు సీ కరెక్ట్ ఉంది.
ఓకే సార్, నాకు ఇదైతే అర్థమైంది. కానీ ఇప్పుడు ఆయన ఇక్కడ కావాలా వద్దా అర్థం అవట్లేదు సార్. ఇప్పుడు
కావాలా వద్దా
అంటే ఆయన ఫోటోల కింద కావాలి అన్నారు ఫస్ట్. ఇప్పుడేమో ఇది ఏమైనా కరెక్ట్ గా పెట్టావా, బాగుందా ఇది అంటే ఎట్లా అడిగితే ఆయన ఇచ్చింది నాకు ఇది సార్.
వన్ మినిట్.
షూర్ సార్. ఇలా ఇచ్చారు సార్.
అజర్ ఒక హాఫ్ అన్ అవర్ ఆగి చేయనా?
ఓకే సార్. సరే సార్.
ఓకే
సరే సార్, థ్యాంక్ యూ.
ఓకే,
బై సార్.
Friends, am I audible? Please respond in the chat. Perfect. Friends, this is very, very important topic. Okay. In the inferential statistics, we discussed about this, right? There are two types. There are again two segmentation. One is the estimation. Estimation in the sense, given the sample, how I can arrive at the population mean. We have only seen it population mean. We have not seen how the standard deviation sigma is going to be calculated, how the proportion is going to be calculated. Okay. So I wanted to continue with the what do you call sigma and proportion. Probably that may create some kind of a confusion. So I said, okay, let me jump the topic. Later on, I can come back here so that there will be a clarity in your mind. This is something called test of hypothesis. Okay. It's very important. And this is useful everywhere. Throughout your life, you will be dealing with this in the data science. Okay. It's not that difficult. Okay. Just it needs a kind of a attention. Just be with me. Be alert. Okay. Now, I am randomly taking 3 people. So Ravikant, Krutik, Tarun. Is that okay if I take these 3 names for the exam, for illustration perspective? Please respond in the chat. Ravi said yes. Krutik, are you okay? Tarun? Yeah, thank you. Okay. Now the scenario here is randomly I'm picking it up, okay? So Ravikant is a judge. He's a judge in the court. Krutik is a suspect. Tarun, police officer. Okay. In this scenario, okay, one thing that you need to remember is nobody knows. Nobody know that Krutik did the crime, except Krutik. Krutik knows that he did the crime. Krutik did some crime, okay, and he only knows that he did that crime. And the other 2 people, Ravi and Tarun, they do not know. This is the condition. This is the condition. Clear? Now the scenario here is some crime happened and the person who suspected that the crime has been done by is Kritik. Who suspected it? Tarun suspected it. Police officer suspected that Kritik has done the crime. So he caught hold of Kritik and he presented Kritik in the court. So when he presented the Kritik in the court, now the Ravikant judge never saw that crime happening, nor he knows something about the crime. Okay, so judge is on the neutral stand. Okay, he do not know anything much about it. He will be taking the decision based upon the evidences that will be produced in the court. We all know this story very well, right? It's all about evidences that we are trying to put. Evidences that we are going to, evidences that the judge is going to look at it. Based on that, he is going to give the judgment. Fair enough? Now, from a data science perspective, what is this evidence? Can you guys correlate? What is this evidence? Whose job is to provide the evidence? Any guess? Whose job is to provide the evidence? Police officer, obviously. Tarun, it's a Tarun job to provide the evidence. When Tarun is trying to provide the evidence, whether he will be provide the evidence in favor of him or he will be provide the evidence not, I mean, against his favor of, against his thought process or against his favor. Because he is suspecting the Kritik. He projected Kritik as a suspect, and naturally he will be providing the evidence in favor of Tarun. That means in favor of Tarun means it is against the Kritik. That means Tarun is telling that Kritik is the suspect, or rather he is claiming that Kritik has done the crime. What is this evidence is basically stands for? This evidence is nothing but a data. This is what the data is. Clear? So Ravikant, he is with a neutral mind. He doesn't have any partiality towards the Kritik or Tarun. All he does is he looks at the evidence, and based on the evidence, he will take a call. Okay? In that situation, now let me ask you a question. What will be the response from the Kritik? When Tarun put the evidence to the Ravikant, and Ravikant asked Kritik whether he has done any crime, what do you think Kritik will say? Will he accept that he has done the crime? Because, sorry, not because. Will he accept in front of everybody that he has done the crime? He will deny. He will not agree because nobody knows that Kritik has done the crime, because he only knows, because there was no evidence and nobody is there at that point of a time. So if I look at it from the three people's perspective, okay, he is in favor of proving that Kritik has done this crime. Kritik always says he has not done. Again, it is in favor of himself, but crime is not done by him. Here it is a neutral mind. Based upon the evidence only, he will say something about it. Okay. Any question here? Any questions, my dear friend, in this context? Any clarity is missing with this context? Please respond. So now here there are three scenarios which I wanted to say. Case 1, case 2, case 3. Case 1, from the judge perspective, we will look at the situation. We will look at the scenario. Case 2, from Kritik perspective, we look at the whole scenario. Case 3, from Tarun perspective, we will look at the scenario. Everyone will try to provide data in favor of themselves. That is the point which I wanted to drive towards. Fair enough? Now, whatever judge is having as a neutral mind and whatever that Kritik is saying is called null hypothesis. What is that? It is called null hypothesis. Okay. What is this null hypothesis? Let us go deep and try to find out what is this null hypothesis and what is the, this is also represented as H naught. Okay, and there is another thing is alternative hypothesis. This is called H1. So I say any hypothesis will have two. One is H naught, another one is H1. Okay. Now the value of H naught H1 will be dependent on who is collecting the data and who is collecting the data in favor of whom. Right? There are two there are two ways of looking at this H naught and H1. If you read the books, probably it will be little opposite of what I am saying, but both the approaches will work together. Both approaches mean the same thing. Okay. H1 is what you want to prove, for which you have collected the data. What is this? H1 is what you, underline this, what you want to prove, for which you collected the data. Okay, this U is replaced by any of these things, these guys. Please keep this in mind. That means whether judge is, what is the judge want to prove, what is that Kritik wants to prove, what is that Tarun wants to prove, that decides your H1. Okay, H naught is opposite of H1. Are you with me? This morning I kept on in the meetings, talking. Then I come to you class, I start getting this, okay, cough. So this is one dimension. Let me give you one more example in the same direction. What if this, how this is going to happen? What all we will see this. Let me make it little more simpler and little more easy from a concept understanding perspective. Okay. So I am taking, this is an example too. I will give you a lot of clarity after this. Okay. Now, Coca-Cola. Okay. Sorry. So we all love this drink, right? Coca-Cola or Pepsi, whatever. So you have 200 ml bottle. The volume is volume of drink. Volume of the drink is 200 ml. Now, okay. So this is how the volume of the cool drink. Now, can you tell me, in each and every bottle, do you think volume is exactly here? Please respond. Do you see any variation? There is going to be some variation. Definitely there is going to be variation. So that means there are three scenarios here. There are three scenarios, right? What are those three scenarios? Volume of the drink can be greater than 200 ml, equal to 200 ml, less than 200 ml. Okay. Now, and you have three stakeholders here. One is consumer, that is you. Another, manufacturer. Another, production engineer. Production engineer works with the manufacturer in the plant. Now, can you guys tell me whose interest is what? You have to respond. What is the interest of consumer? What is the interest of manufacturer? What is the interest of production engineer? Sorry guys. Yeah. Guys, tell me, what is the interest of consumer? Consumer is always wants to have more than 200 ml, right? Absolutely right, Karkutik. He always wants more. Ye dil mange more, right? So suppose consumer wants that way, but if at all any complaint happens, what will be the what will be the consumer complaint? This is the same information, put it in a different ways. Exactly. It is 3, option 3, which that means what is this here is a claim. There is a claim. Okay. Claim from the perspective of consumer view. From the consumer viewpoint of view, what will be the claim? The claim is volume of the drink is less than 200 ml. Less quantity. Consumer is claiming that I'm always getting the Coca-Cola less than 200 ml. So what he will do? So consumer, what he does, he will go, he will find he will collect the data. Now, consumer is collecting the data collection. But he always collect the data in such a way that this is right. This statement is right. To prove that the manufacturer is giving the volume of the drink less than 200 ml. Are you with me? This is your claim, buddies. This one, you call it as your alternative hypothesis H1. What is the H1? Is less than 200 ml. When he collect the data, he purchases or borrow or do whatever it is, steal or whatever it is. So bottle 1, he looks at the data, maybe 198 point something. Bottle 2, maybe 201 ml, like this. So finally, on an average, what he will do? He will calculate the mu, and mu may be like 180 ml, 198 ml, right? So here the consumer is interested overall on an average value. What is that value? On an average of the volume of the drink, which is nothing but mu. So your H1 is mu less than 200 ml. Opposite of this is H naught. This is your null hypothesis. This is null hypothesis. This is alternative hypothesis. Okay. Why are we trying to do this? This we are trying to do because in the inferential statistics, using the estimation, using the estimation concept, you looked into your sample, you applied all those principles, blah 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 blah, whatever we discussed, all those things he applied, and finally you have arrived at your mean of the population. Okay, you have arrived at the mean of the population. So that mean of the population which you have calculated through the estimation process of the inferential statistics, now through the test of hypothesis, you are deciding whether it is right or wrong. Whatever that you have estimated using the samples data, okay, that you are proving using the test of hypothesis whether it is right or wrong. That is why estimation and test of hypothesis go hand in hand. Are you with me, my dear friends? Are you getting the clarity now? Where I'm heading towards? Please respond. Okay. Now, let me look at the case 2. Case 2 is the manufacturer view. What will be my H1 and what will be my H0? Think. Guys, come on, think. What is the owner says? Owner always says, I have supplied the drink more than 200 ml. One or two. Mostly he will say more. Yes, I always supplied. Okay. Because he collects the data and he will be proving to the world that he is giving more than 200 ml. That is the owner, because at the end of the day, if he says more or equal to, also there is a problem. He will say, okay, that is fine. But he always says, owner from manufacturer perspective, I'm giving more. That is the your H1. This is the owner's objective. Owner's objective here is to basically collect the, to prove that he is not giving not even less than 200. He is saying above that. So obviously your H0 becomes less than or equal to 200 ml. Remember, this is the view. Who collected the data? Manufacturer collected data. Okay, about the volume of the drink. Case 3. What is the case 3? Production engineer. Obviously, production engineer, what? He should not be doing favor to the manufacturer. He should not be doing the favor to the consumer. So he has to say that what is his claim? This is the claim. H1 is the claim. What is this H1? What is this claim? He always says, I always ensure that the volume of the drink is 200 ml. Will you say that? Guys, think about this. Engineer, what he will be saying? Right? So what will be next alternative? Not next. What is the null hypothesis? H0. Mu is not equals to 200 ml. Is it right? I am asking this question. Think about it once again. I will allow you to think. Is the claim H1, will it be this or this? Your H1 will be mu is not equal to 200 ml. H0 will be sorry, mu is equal to 200 ml. So what is the difference between these two? Guys, please think. Small catch here. That is the point I wanted to bring it to your notice. Come on. Which one is right? I'm calling this as 1. I'm calling this as a 2. Which one is right? In other scenarios, there is no problem. In this scenario, what is the issue? I mean, which one is the applicable? Who are all saying it is 1? Please respond in the chat. Okay, Ravi picks up 2. Others, everybody should respond. Please respond. See, this is how we learn. Be interactive, guys. That's where you will learn the subject. Kritik says 1. Okay. Sankit says 1. Arvind says 2. Okay. So whoever says 1, justify why you are saying 1. Whoever 2, please justify from your side. Please start typing your answer there. What happened? No response, friends. Okay. Let me give H1 is to prove 200 if H. Okay. Correct. What about H1? What is the first option 1? Ravi has picked up the option 2, so he has given his justification stating that H1 is to prove equal to 200, volume is equal to 200, whereas H0 is greater not equal to 200. H1 cannot be less than or more than 200. So there are two ways. One is from a theoretical perspective, theoretical standpoint of view, engineer has to say, engineer is supposed to produce exactly the 200 ml of the volume of the data. Okay. This is from a theoretical standpoint of view. But from a practical standpoint of view, can he really control that? Because when the fluid of the volume is actually falling into the bottle, maybe there might, because the nozzle of the machine which is filling the volume of the data, there may be some scaling might have happened, or some obstruction might be there, or something else may happen, because of which there is a possibility that there might be some less volume of the drink is going to be pumped into the bottle. At the same time, there may be some leaking that might be happening within the nozzle of the machine, though there is a possibility that there will be more liquid is going to fall into that. So from a reality perspective, this is right. From theoretical perspective, this is right. So above two examples, it's pretty clear whether it is a reality or theoretical, both are same. But when it comes to the third case, it is always two dimensions will occur. Now, as a data science person, you need to look at it. You need to look at it. Which one really makes sense to you, given the business problem? In this business problem, I need to hang on to the reality perspective. That means this will be the right one. That means my H1 is reality. My claim is, as a production engineer says that, sir, sometimes it is less volume, sometimes it is more volume. There will be no problem with anybody from a production engineer perspective. That means, right, he is satisfying both the people. So his job, he is fine with that. Did you see the point, guys? So what is the learning here? Based on the role of a person collecting the data, your H1 and H0 are changing. Let me repeat. Let me write down first before I prove. Based on the view whether it is a customer view or a manufacturer view or a production engineer view, your H1 and H0 are changing. Please remember, this is very important point. Okay, so you want always H1 to be right. So you always wants to, because you are claiming, right? H1 is your claim. Your H1 is your claim. You are claiming something, and you always want to prove this. When you are proving this, when you prove this, that means it is acceptance. That means it is acceptance. Meaning, when I am proving this, if this becomes right, correct, that means I am proving my H0 is not right. That means what you are doing here, this portion is unknown, some kind, general, I'm using for your understanding perspective. Let me repeat, your understanding perspective, I am using this word, but it is not the correct word. This is nothing but you are rejecting the claim. That's it, right? If you prove this, you are rejecting the H0. That means you are rejecting the null hypothesis. When you are rejecting the null hypothesis, actually this is not a rejection. You will be saying this, fail to accept. Sorry, fail to reject. Sorry, fail to accept, right? Not. Guys, are you with me? Okay, there are two scenarios. Okay, let me give a little clarity from my perspective also. Little bit, I also got second thinking about this. Okay, let me explain you a little more about this. There are two terms. One is so sorry. Now I got it. Okay, this is not so. This is rejecting is the perfect word. Let me other way I have to choose it. What is it? Yeah. So reject is the accepted word. That means rejected. This one. This one failed to reject. Even though Tarun is producing the right evidence against Kritik, Judge Ravikant, okay, Judge Ravikant is looking into the evidence. Based on the evidence, he is giving the judgment. That means if the Tarun failed to provide the right evidence, naturally Kritik will come out as a person who has not done any crime. That means he is no more a suspect. So fail to reject means, in another words, acceptance. In another words, the evidence that has been provided is acceptable kind of thing. Are you with me? Guys, are you with me? So based upon your H1 and H0, you will be deciding whether you are rejecting or fail to reject. In other words, either you accept or fail to accept. Fail to accept is not the right thing to do. Fail to reject is something is the right thing, because enough evidence is not being provided. So hence, other situation happens. Is it clear now? Now let us go back and look into, browse the data. See, consumer view. I'm looking into consumer view. Okay. So now if I draw the histogram of all my data that has been collected, if I draw the histogram, I'm drawing an histogram. This is your mu. That is mu. What is the actual mu is supposed to be? Mu is supposed to be 200 ml. That is the mu. Okay. Now in this scenario, guys, be with me. Okay. In this scenario, where is your H1 is falling? Your H1 is falling towards left hand side of this from the symmetry or right hand side of your mu. Please respond. Left hand side. Okay. That means this one, if you plot it somewhere this direction, this way. So this is left side. Okay. Your H1 here is mu less than 200 ml. Second case. In the second case, if I draw my histogram, this is my mu. Where is my H0? Is it onto the right hand side or on the left hand side? Mu is greater than 200 ml. Here mu is 200 ml. Which side it is going to fall? Please respond. This is right. Ravi, mu is greater than 200 is always next to the right hand side of it, because this is the left hand side, this is the right hand side. Here, see, this here you see less than, here you see greater than. Look at who is the owner? Manufacturer. The role of the person here is manufacturer. Here is the consumer. Now below we have production engineer. So that means if I look at it, my mu is falling somewhere here. My H1 mu is falling somewhere here. Here it is falling somewhere here. This is called one-side test. This is also called one-side test. But this is called right-side test. This is called left-side test. 1T test, 2T test, you might have heard about these things. That is where I'm heading towards. It's a very interesting concept, guys. Beautiful concept. Okay. Now come to this third case. If I draw a histogram for the third case, what is your H1? Your H1 is not equal to, that means it will be either my left hand side or it might be right hand side. So that means it may fall somewhere between here. This is called two-sided test. Or it is called, sometimes it's called two-tailed test. One-tailed test, two-tailed test. Okay. So now the question comes. Is there any blunt way I can remember this stuff? Yes, there is a blunt way. What is that blunt way? How do I write my H0? Remember, H0 always contains inequalities. inequality symbols. What is that? Greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, not equal to. These are all inequality symbols. H1. H1. It contains greater than symbol, less than symbol, equal to symbol. If this much you remember, you are good to go. Paracetamol, 150 mg paracetamol. Do you think the drug is going to be exactly 150 mg? No. Sometimes it is less than 140, less than 150 mg. Sometimes it is greater than 150 mg. Sometimes it is exactly 150 mg. Now there is a quality check happens by the drug inspectors. Okay. So what they do? They will use you can use the data science and you can figure out exactly, and you can actually, you look at the sample, from the sample you can estimate the whole lot, which is a population, which you can say what is my mu is going to be. Based on this test of hypothesis, you can decide whether you can pass the test or not. Friends, are you with me? Are you understanding the concept, guys? Okay. Let me write the steps so that you can write down the steps. Steps involved. So this is very important, guys. You need to can't run away from this. Why it is important? Because this is where you actually make the decision. You need to look at your errors. You need to look at your central limit theorem to arrive at your the estimated population mean. From there, you need to jump into the test of hypothesis. Here, you decide, you make the decision whether you have to accept it or you have to reject it, or you have failed to reject it. Okay. The step one. Frame the problem statement. Frame the test of hypothesis. That means what is the claim? That means you are trying to frame the H1 and H1, H0 and H1 from the business problem statement. From the biz problem statement. Okay. Second, define alpha. We will solve the problem tomorrow. Okay. Define alpha. If nothing is given, by default take alpha as a 5%. That means your type 1 error is 5%. What is alpha? Type 1 error. Remember. Now, collect the data based on the claim that you are doing it. Collect the data. Okay. What is the data that you are collecting here? Always remember, you are collecting the data in favor of H1, alternative hypothesis. Okay. Fourth one. Calculate something called G tab. Find out the Z value from the tables at alpha, whatever the alpha value that you are having. Then draw the histogram. Guys, in R and Python, you will simply directly get this value straight away. You don't need to use your brain. But the point is justification. If you don't know these steps, you do not know which one to accept, which one to fail, which one to reject. Okay. Second one, sixth one, calculate Z calculated value, okay, using x minus mu divided by S by n from the sample and draw the picture. Based on the G calculated, okay, after drawing the picture, okay, now take a decision. Decision of what? Reject, fail to reject. What is the general range of p-value? Tarun is asking general range of p-value to reject or accept the H naught. If it is the what do you call alpha equal to 5%, then that value is going to be 1.96 plus or minus 1.96. We'll talk about all those things, Tarun. Don't worry. I will explain you in detail when we take an example and solve the problem. Okay. So first, I wanted you guys to be clear on this concept wise. Tomorrow, I will take the same problem. I will generate the data. I will simulate the data. After simulating the data, I will show you how to calculate these values based on the value that you are getting. Now, you will be taking a decision to accept or to reject or fail to reject. When you are doing such things, okay, this term is nothing but standard deviation. Okay, this is a standard deviation. This is nothing but I'm going to introduce a term called noise of the data. This is actually error. We will talk in detail about what this is. Okay, we'll take an example about biryani, how we can cook the biryani and on what basis you decide the biryani is good or bad. Okay, so this is at a high level, guys. So there are one sample t test, p sample 2 test. Then another one is the p value is another method. Okay, p value is another method. Tarun, p value is another method. Okay, so where you will be deciding that you're making the decision depending upon the probability, depending upon the value of the probability. Okay, so if you look at the probability value with respect to the G, I said is 1.96 if given alpha is equal to 5%. That is more nothing but your G tap score. But if you ask me p value, it is another method of similar to your test of hypothesis. Is that clear, Tarun? We will talk about the p-value method also. Okay, where in the p-value method, what you do is you look at the smallest level of the significance. That means smallest level of confidence level that would lead to the rejection of your null hypothesis. That is what you look into. You look at it in p-value method in test of hypothesis. In p-value method. Okay. Is that clear, guys? Hold on, we'll close this beautiful, interesting topic tomorrow. I will simulate the whole problem tomorrow with an example, and then I will show you how this works, and then we'll get into the p-value method tomorrow. These two are important because based on this, you will be deciding deciding what are the various factors that you need to consider as part of your model building. Now I use the word model. That means we are actually getting into your actual machine learning in another probably 2-3 classes after. We'll get into the machine learning. That is when the machine learning starts. Maybe 4 classes from now we will get into the machine learning. Till then you are actually going through the fundamentals of your data science only, fundamentals of your basic machine learning. After 4 days, I will tell you, you are ready for now data science. After 4th day, I will say you are all ready for, or rather I say you are all prepared for learning the data science. Till then, I still say you do not know anything about data science. All you know is some R programming or Python programming, which your engineering colleges or somebody will be teaching all that. Okay, guys? Any questions? Is it interesting, by the way? This subject is a beautiful subject, guys. Okay? Okay then. Catch you. See you tomorrow.